Of all the buildings that were destroyed that night, perhaps the Mercy Hospital building was the most critical. Hundreds of lives impacted by just that one building, with hundreds of stories. 10 years later, here's a look at 3 people who have never been the same since.
Everybody took cover, and we were there for what seemed like an eternity. And everybody did the best we could, and then we hit the middle of it, and there was that moment where we all thought we were done, and then the second part of it hit, and we knew that it was even worse than the first part. There's moments. Am I going home? Was this morning the last time I saw my family?
In the closet, all I could think about was my family, but the minute we stepped out of that area, it was like go to work mode.
I got a text message from the hospital saying the hospital had been hit. And, I told my husband, I said, I got to go. I got out of the truck and I said, I'll talk to you later. And I didn't realize it would be another 27 hours before I went back.
And even the ones that could walk didn't have shoes on. And the glass and the debris everywhere was an obstacle because we couldn't ask them to walk on the glass, but we couldn't find any belongings. Yep. So we just were wrapping towels around their feet to try to get them to walk.
They were afraid that the hospital was going to explode. And so I remember running down 26th Street, and all at once, everything, the sound just closed for whatever reason. And I remember thinking, I'm too close. And this thing goes, and I'm a statistic. And all at the time that I could think about was that my mom would have to hear it.
North side of you could look out the window and just see the path of destruction, and my heart sunk because I knew that we needed to help our people, but we also knew that there was people that were really in bad shape out there.
The hospital is a beacon of hope and health. So everybody who was hurt in the community, the first thing they do is, we've got to get to the hospital. But they didn't know the hospital had been hit too.
We were helping bring people in on desk chairs, on doors, and just, trying to just get people in. And obviously, Memorial Hall was overwhelmed pretty quickly, and so then they opened up McCauley.
Getting home at 3 a.m., all my kids were asleep, but that was the first thing that I did, is just stood in the doorway and, had that moment of reflection that I did get to see them again, and there were going to be people who weren't going to get to see their family. You feel sorry for them. But over the 10 years, as you look back and you reflect, and as I've learned more and more about, the sisters and realizing the stuff they go through and have went through, it gives you that sense of the resiliency, and you realize that people in general, and even the people who live here in this community that have been through this, there's always a way.
So many people come into this life, leave this life. You go through some of your best of times and worst of times in a hospital. And doing it at St. John's, at Mercy, was special. And so I love the fact that they've kept the monuments and the statue and the care that they took to preserve what was here and all of the lives that have come and gone over the years on this ground.
When the night was still, in the middle of a pitch black abyss, a beacon of light rose above the darkness. With one hospital incapacitated by one of the deadliest tornadoes ever, another did everything it could just to stay functioning. Now, the lines were blurred. Doctors, nurses, and staff coming from both hospitals in one facility, while hundreds of injured people lined the hallways. This is the May 22nd, 2011 story of Freeman Health System.
When I walked in, it was unlike anything I have ever seen before.
You prepare for it, but you always think you're preparing for something that most likely will never happen.
Many of the medical staff to respond that fateful night knew this was going to be different.
I remember so vividly my wife saying,
"This is going to be really bad, isn't it?"
I said, "Well, we're going to probably be here for a while."
As far as you could see, there was people in every direction crushing their way in, trying to get in.
there were people everywhere. I mean, in the front lobby, spilling out into the outside, into the parking lot and the driveways and so forth.
Within about 15 minutes, we had 100 patients show up. And that tells you a great deal. When you have, one patient showing up every 45 seconds, that's something you can't understand until you see it.
We did 22 life-saving surgeries within the first 12 hours. We had to access blood. We had to get all the patients triaged that were coming to the hospital. We had over 1,500 people in our hospital that night.
It was shoulder to shoulder people everywhere.
Everyone, and they mean everyone, got right to work.
We set up mobile surgery centers. We set up mobile triage areas. It was all about getting our team together and doing what they do best.
There was emotional support being provided. There were people doing jobs that in any other circumstance they would not have been doing.
That includes Renee herself, helping her team care for even seriously injured patients in a makeshift room set up inside Freeman Health System.
And asked the incident commander, I said, I think if I could take about 4 or 5 of my medical nurses with me, we could open up an area down in the conference rooms and begin taking care of patients.
The hospital's now president and CEO found herself in the temporary morgue, holding the hands of those who were dying.
I didn't want them to die without some comfort and without a human touch. And so to sit there and hold their hand and give them, I hope, that comfort and that reassurance that someone was there with them.
But ask any of them and they'll tell you what they remember most that night.
There were some very horrific injuries and some that weren't as bad, but people were surprisingly pretty quiet.
It was quiet, eerily quiet. There wasn't people screaming, people yelling, people, they were just in a state of shock.
We probably at one time had about 70 people in the conference rooms, 40 of which were patients, and it was as quiet as it is in this room right now.
Step outside and you might have heard the hum of the hospital's generators instead. The director of facilities and his team made sure the hospital stayed running in the night.
That night it was so dark in Joplin because electricity was out in this whole end of town. But we glowed in the night from our generator power.
I remember being up on the tower and looking out over the entire city of Joplin, and it was completely black. But yet here Freeman was lit.
When we were glowing through that dark, dark night, we knew that that was a beacon of hope for people. We knew they'd see the light of Freeman and know that we're here for them and we're going to be here with them throughout the duration of this catastrophe.
And many individuals were also beacons of hope. One of them, Aaron Brown, the lead pastor at St. Paul's United Methodist Church. His story next.